College football is a multi-million-dollar business. Stadiums with hundreds of thousands of seats are filled every Saturday with millions more watching on TV. Boys and girls of every age dream of playing under the lights, and student athletes are continuing to ask the questions. Do I have what it takes? I'm Grayson Stovall, and I'm one of those athletes. I've played football since the age of 7 and recently been fortunate enough to win the NFL Hall of Fame Youth National Championship for the last 2 years. I've also had the honor of being invited to play in the U.S. International Bowl this January, where we will be competing against Team Mexico, playing under the lights at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, home of the Dallas Cowboys. Because of these recent successes, the dream of playing college ball seems more possible than ever before. But competition is fierce. Being skilled at the game isn't enough. I want to know what it takes to get to that level, and my 8th grade project provided the timing and motivation to pursue that dream. With the focus on football players, I researched what it takes to compete and be successful enough to be recruited and receive a college scholarship at D1, D2, and D3 schools. Football is more than just a game to me. To the devoted, it's a lifestyle that has created great friends, a good physical challenge, character, and motivation that has shown me, potentially with hard work and dedication, your dreams are possible. Football teaches the strategy of competition. It's a team sport, but there's a lot more individual influence in the outcome of the game based on each player's efforts. There will always be a competitor, either on your team or against you. The goal is the same: outperform them. It may mean starting in that position or winning the game, but in life or in the game, it's no different. You will never win or reach your goals without a plan. That is to do your research and plan for the unexpected, prepare and physically and mentally, and put in 100%, 150% effort. Through this project, I hope to show 1. Odds are remote. 2. Physical training benchmarks. 3. NCAA eligibility, grades and test scores. 4. Recruiting timeline. 5. Recruiting resources. 6. Scholarship consideration, D1, D2, and D3. 7. Character, and 8. Practical tips. Odds are remote. The old saying, if it was easy, everyone would do it, rings true for college athletes. Not only will they have to be successful in the classroom, but on the field, and that requires old-fashioned hard work, consistent improvement, confidence in themselves, so the colleges are looking for the best all-around athletes and scholars. NCAA statistics show that there are 1 million high school athletes in the United States playing football in any given year. Of that, only 5% are fortunate enough to receive NCAA scholarships, and only 1% will be a D1. Through research, I found numerous articles that cited collegiate athletes are usually lead players on their teams that started to stand out from their peers athletically at the age of 12 to 14. They tend to be bigger overall, stronger, having an athletic build, and the right body type for their position. Other traits of successful recruits were discipline, courage, and persistence. Most were described as having a warrior-like mentality, incredibly driven, with a definite plan, and incredible work ethic. They realized talent went so far that they went above and beyond on the field, in games, during practice, and in the weight room and classroom. Physical training benchmarks. College athlete prospects need to have certain benchmarks such as height, weight, 40-yard dash, and vertical jump. Specifically, for a position like an offensive lineman, you are looking at following average weightlifting requirements: 330 for a bench press, 430 for parallel squat, 290 for incline press, and 250 for power cleans. Interviews with my Creek Red Nation coaches, Ken Markiel, former NFL Saint, and Mesa State linebacker, and Mark Cooper, University of Miami, and he played for the Broncos and Tampa Bay Buccaneers, emphasized that an athlete's athleticism and explosiveness in a game were determining factors for play or recruitment consideration. However, they were quick to add that if your measurables do not stack up favorably to other elite athletes being considered, you could potentially win them over by your commitment to being the hardest worker out there. Coach Coop said that he was in the weight room 2 hours a day, 4 days a week in high school because there was no substitute for the will to prepare. Both coaches were multi-sport athletes and attributed their success in football and sports to doing what others were not doing. Because skill and talent are everywhere, continuing education and high improvement were also contributors to their success both physically and mentally.
NCAA eligibility requirements. There are specific academic requirements for core classes to be taken in high school for consideration of potential scholarships and eligibility to play college sports. As a freshman, it's not too early to meet with your high school guidance counselor and declare your desire to play college sports. You can request a copy of the NCAA Guide for College-Bound Student Athletes, or CBSA. For starters, for D1, you need a total of 16 core credits by graduation. For example, you need 4 years of English, 3 years of math, algebra 1 or higher, 2 years of natural and physical science, 1 year of English, math or natural/physical science, 2 years of social studies, and 4 years of additional courses, foreign language or comparative religion or philosophy. In every interview I had with previous college athletes and coaches, everyone's best advice was have the grades. Striving for all A's and B's is crucial to putting yourself in the best position to be recruited. Having said that, the minimum requirement in those classes for NCAA are a 2.0 to a 2.3 GPA, depending on your division, and a sliding scale. On a sliding scale of a GPA, you need a 3.5. For a 3.5, you need a 420 overall of 1600 on your SAT or a score of 39 on your ACT. Aside from the course you take, your NCAA eligibility will be determined by your GPA from those courses and your SAT and ACT scores. For D1, they have a sliding scale to accommodate variations in GPA and test scores. For your SAT, a sum of your math and reading scores, and for your ACT, it's a sum of your English, math, and reading scores. For a specific breakdown, look at the link, but for D2, you'll need to be at an SAT score of 820 or an ACT score of 68. For D3, there are no requirements. It's recommended to take the PSAT in the summer of your junior year to know your score. By the end of your junior year, if you have a minimum of a 3.0 GPA, a 1000 SAT, or 86 ACT, you can contact NCAA eligibility centers for notification of early consideration. This puts you in the best light for recruitment so coaches don't have to worry about your academic eligibility.
Top college recruits can sometimes get scholarships their 8th or ninth grade year if they have been playing on a national level and received that kind of exposure. My CRN coach, Ken Markiel, wanted our team to travel and compete nationwide, emphasizing leadership on and off the field. Academic excellence and success nationally, not dominance locally, was a big thing. By traveling our play and playing top talent across the nation, we could become better exposed and could evaluate our skill level more methodically by seeing the talent of our competitors on a bigger stage. NCAA National Collegiate Athletic Association is the governing body that regulates college athletics at over 1,700 colleges or universities. Their guidelines stipulate when and how prospect athletes can be contacted in the recruiting process. As I mentioned before, it's never too early to start your own recruiting process. Either in 8th or ninth grade, start researching and make a list of schools you might want to be interested in potential areas of study at those schools. Consider the differences in D1, D2, and D3 and what might be your best fit based on size of school, level of competition, athletically, academics, financial scholarships provided, and location. There are suggested guidelines for action items each year of high school. For freshman year, you should address study time and time management skills. Rank schools based on interest, initialize communication with coaching staff at those schools, maximize your athletic skills and talent through training. For sophomore year, you should take your SAT or ACT, register with NCAA or NAIA eligibility centers, complete initial recruiting questionnaires, begin creating skill video or highlight profile online. This should be done freshman year for D1. In the profile should be your name, position, graduation year, high school, city and state, your number, example, mine is 75, your GPA, your high school contact or your high school, coach, contact info, stats, and honors. Show a little personality but remain professional. Hudl highlights of 3 to 5 minutes of skills. This is important, especially for them seeing your skills. Send info to 50 to 100 coaches to get on their radar. Junior year. Narrow your list of schools. Stay in constant contact with coaches and schools. Be your own advocate. This is the most key part. Ask where you stand on their prospective list of recruits. Don't assume anything. Unofficial visits you pay for and doesn't confirm their interest. Be discreet in your communication. Personalize each letter. Take your SAT, ACT test again. Senior year. Finalize list of schools, preferably top 10 to top 3. Contact all of your top colleges. Send out skill videos. This should be the most active year in your recruitment. If you're just starting your recruitment efforts, you're late to the party. NCAA guidelines. NCAA guidelines have different deadlines for potential recruits to receive information or to be contacted by a coach. D1 is September 1st, junior year. D2 is June 15th after sophomore year. D3 is anytime unlimited, and NAIA is anytime unlimited. Unofficial visits can happen anytime if it's at your cost and you must be accompanied by a parent. Official visits to colleges where they pay for all expenses is as follows. For D1, it's opening day of senior year, but you must limit one visit per college up to a total of 5. For D2, it's June 15th after sophomore year, limit one visit per college but unlimited total. D3 is January 1st of junior year, limit to one visit per college but unlimited total, and NAIA is on anytime unlimited. Recruiting resources. Jerry Wisney, former Notre Dame NFL offensive lineman for Chicago Bears, Minnesota Vikings, St. Louis Rams, and Green Bay Packers, was recruited out of Jenks, Oklahoma, a powerhouse state with lots of talent and exposure. He was initially noticed in 8th grade as a 6'4", 200-pound beast. His high school team won the state championship 2 years in a row, and he started on varsity as a sophomore. He's what you call a top-ranked, 5-star, blue-chip, parade All-American athlete. Those are recruited that don't need a recruiting service because they're already being scouted. But for every other student, it's worth the cost and consideration when comparing the cost of a couple $1,000s against $100,000 in free college education. It's really a no-brainer. There are hundreds of online recruiting services. Some are advertised as free, others cost anywhere from $10 a month to $1,800 a year, or even a one-time fee of $2,000. Some agencies look more legitimate, but others appear to work on commissions, meaning if an athlete signs up, they will get paid whether or not the athlete gets recruited. As long as you can afford it, they'll sign you up. One of the more popular recruiting agencies is NCSA, Next College Student Athlete. But before signing up with one, ask yourself what they can do for you that you can't do for yourself. Most athletes and families that sign up do it because they're not knowledgeable themselves about the recruiting process. In the end, do your research, look at online reviews before you write the check. Whether you go out with a service or not, there are things you definitely need in an online profile such as Hudl or Max Preps with highlight videos that show dominance with good technique. better quality presentation may be what gets you noticed on their radar of coaches to be. Recruiting is about relationships, and your profile is your first introduction to the coaches. Some of the top high schools in Colorado that are recruited for are Cherry Creek, Pomona, Mullen, Valor, and Regis. But realize wherever you play, you'll have to get that exposure and you'll have the skills to stand out regardless of the competition. Scholarship considerations D1, D2, and D3. Why wouldn't you want to continue playing your sport while having your college education paid for? NCAA offers three divisions depending on size and sports that are offered. D1 is for the most elite, most prestigious. They have larger budgets, advanced training facilities, and offer more scholarships that usually involve a full ride. D2 has less money in their budget for scholarships, but can offer a partial scholarship and financial aid. D3, the smallest of the divisions, and is required to state that they don't offer scholarship money for athletic ability. However, D3 is more flexible in the admissions process for grades, SAT, and ACT scores. Surprisingly, at D3 schools, there is big money to be received through financial aid and grants. Don't assume you won't qualify, and be sure to complete your FAFSA, free application for federal student aid, and your SAR, student aid report, for the colleges to determine your EFC, expected family contributions, to generate a PIN number, personal identification number. That is required for all scholarships, recruitment offers, and considerations. Shannon Wisney, former Notre Dame swimmer, was a recruiter's dream, an accomplished swimmer, track, cross country, tennis, softball, and basketball player. Not unlike the majority, 88% of college athletes were multi-sport competitors in high school. She went D1, but with 50-plus offers, she could have went anywhere. Federal Title IX Gender Equality Rules ensures same education opportunities, athletic facilities, and advantages to receive athletic scholarships for both men and women. However, the most profitable scholarships and full rides go to football, men's and women's basketball, and volleyball, with reduced amounts for other sports. These sports receive more money because they generate more revenue as high-income spectator sports. Outside of D1 scholarships, the average NCAA scholarship is valued at around $10,000 per year or less. Coaches have a set amount of scholarships money every year, and their job is to try and attract and secure the best athletes for the lowest amount of money. Most coaches are talking to 4 to 5 recruits for every one position, and the candidate that commits first is the one that gets the offer. Scholarships aren't guaranteed. Don't assume it's for 4 years. They have to be earned and renewed each year at the coach's discretion while maintaining your GPA to remain eligible. Character. Sports don't build character, they reveal it, said Hayward Brown. An athlete's skill and ability on the field will get noticed, but it's their character and actions off the field that can attract attention negatively. Coaches and scouts are no different. They're looking at each prospect recruit as a potential teammate. How do they treat each other, their coaches, and even their parents? They look at everything on social media, so if you sign a letter of intent, you represent a commodity, and that commodity better live up to the hype and standards of the university. Student athletes need to be coachable and want to avoid drama whenever possible. Integrity, being a good teammate, being community-minded, and giving back all show accountability and respect. Parents of potential student athletes hoping to be offered a scholarship also need to be careful about their behavior. Be positive, don't rant or complain. Coaches don't want to have to deal with the difficult, overbearing parents. Examples of student athletes losing their scholarships are numerous. In 2013, a Michigan State athlete lost his eligibility after posting explicit rap videos. In 2017, Donald De La Haye, aka Destroying on YouTube, lost his scholarship after an NCAA ruling prohibits athletes from using their athletic status to monetize videos. To get an offer is a big financial responsibility. Remember that your actions speak louder than your words. Practical tips. You're probably feeling a bit overwhelmed, but remember these truths. Work harder than your competitors. You can achieve anything you set your mind to. Get the grades. Be open to all divisions and opportunities. Remember, your goal is to get a good education in addition to competing on a national level. Be careful of questionable recruiting tactics, like getting money from boosters. Ask lots of questions. Keep a detailed log of communication. Respond quickly. Proofread. Spell check everything when communicating with coaches. Realize coaches may be recruiting 2 years out for a position. Be knowledgeable about NCAA rules and regulations. Make sure your social media reflects positively. It's your brand. Go after it and good luck. College is where the real work begins.